My name is Sylvain Courtey. I am the president of Eurovent Certita Certification, and I will present you the new energy efficiency label for air units for hot and humid climates. So I will start with some basic facts and figures about Eurovent Certita Certification, and then explain why it is important to rely on third-party certification. Then I will explain the principle and how work this hot and humid climate energy classification for any unit. And then we will have a short explanation on how it works with our website and how you can find the relevant information. So first, regarding Eurovent Certita Certification, I will quickly explain some key facts. ECC is a third-party certification body. So we are an independent body focused only on certification of products. We are accredited according to ISO 17065, and we are applying the scheme 5, which is the highest level defined in the ISO standard. We manage almost 50 certification programs, and we have a team of 60 permanent people dedicated to certification, and we speak about 10 languages in our team. So here you will see some key figures about our activity. Of course, Eurovent Certita certification comes from Europe, and we are largely present in Europe. We estimate that we covers about 2/3 of the European market, meaning that 2/3 of the products which are supplied to the European market are Eurovent certified. Our activity represents about 1,600 tests in independent laboratories per year, and about 400 audits per year. We have around more than 50,000 references certified, and our certified data are available 24 hours per day and 7 days per week on our website. Our activity covers more than 200 manufacturers. So we are certifying all the products in the HVAC and R industry. We are certifying products in the ventilation fields like air handling units, air filters, heat recovery systems, air cleaners. In the indoor climate fields like rooftops, VRF, chillers, air conditioners, but also in the process cooling and food cold chain. For example, the display cabinets and the cooling towers or the heat exchangers. Basically, how does it work? Our certification activity is an annual process. It means that every year some evaluations have to be done. Basically, we manage tests in independent laboratories where we compare the measured values with the declared values from the manufacturers. We are mainly using independent laboratories. This is a key aspect of our activity. We also have production site audits, which implies sometimes some corrective actions and assessment from ECC of the efficiency of these corrective actions. And we have a set of general rules that are in our certification manual. And also for some programs, we do have the check of the selection tools whenever it is applicable. And this is the case for the air unit program, which is our subject today. So here you have the three pillars of our certification activity. You have the test done in laboratory and mainly in independent laboratories. We are working with a set of different independent laboratories in Europe, covering all the products that we are certifying, and we rely on the best laboratories available. We also rely on factory audits. This is to ensure that what is tested in the independent laboratories are the same products as the ones that are delivered to the customers. And also it allows us to verify that there is a consistency of the characteristics of the products that are manufactured by the manufacturer along the years. It's not a one-off certification. We check that what has been tested during a year is produced with in the same way and with the same performances afterward. And also for some programs, we rely on selection software checks. You may know that more and more for B2B products, especially, products can be configurable, can be very different. They are produced against customer specifications. This is the case for handling units, but also for chillers. And more and more manufacturers do provide selection software printouts to their customers. Those printouts includes specific performances of the product that are very special to the project that is of interest for the customer. Okay, so our certification programs are relying and are recognized by different organizations. For example, the EVO organization, which is managing the IPMVP protocol, is relying on third-party equipment certification and is, I would say, referring to our activity. So basically, how do our energy efficiency classification work? Here you have the principle for the original scheme for winter application. So in this scheme, you will see that it relies on 4 different parameters. First, the air velocity in the air unit, the heat recovery efficiency, the heat recovery pressure drop, and the fan efficiency. So all these parameters have to be assessed in order to define the final energy class. What is interesting in this scheme is that all these parameters have a value and are important and can compensate each other, because you could be good on the first parameter and not that good on the second, but the first one could compensate the second one because everything is related to energy. So how does it work? How to compare the heat recovery efficiency and the pressure drop in the AHU. If you go back to the previous slide, Marcus, yes. So you see in the graph that there is some studies have been done, some energy efficiency calculation have been done for many different projects and locations, where you can see in this that you have the pressure efficiency factor, which is defined on the y-axis and which is based on the design outdoor temperature in winter. This is how it has been done in Europe. And in this graph, for example, you could see that if you are at -10 degrees Celsius outdoor, it means that 1% of efficiency more in your heat recovery system is equivalent to 15 Pascal less in your system. So this factor allows you to make the link between the heat recovery efficiency and, for example, the pressure drop of the components. So in this way, you can compare all these parameters and have as a result the overall classification. So if you go to the next slide, you will see the table which defines the different energy efficiency classes. So you have different thresholds for the 4 parameters: air velocity, heat recovery efficiency, heat recovery pressure drop, and fan efficiency. So if all these parameters are according to this table, you will find the corresponding class. But you have to understand that you can have some compensation between the different parameters in order to reach a certain class. So this is for the winter application. Now for hot and humid climate, the idea was to have an independent label keeping the current energy efficiency classification for heating and create a new one for the cooling. So the same methodology is applied as for the winter application. And in this case, the input data are the summer outdoor design conditions. And for that, we use the ASHRAE database, and we chose specific conditions regarding outdoor temperature for dry bulb and wet bulb. Next slide, please. So here you have the description for the hot and humid climates. What has been added is to take into account the heat recovery system wet efficiency, so to take into account humid climate. And you still have the heat recovery system for dry efficiency, but in this case, this is in cooling mode. And here you see the different figures for the different energy efficiency classes. What can be said on these different classes is that it is very difficult to reach A+ normally. It's difficult to evaluate it, but our target when we developed this scheme was that not much than 1% of the unit could reach A+, and not much than 5% of the unit could be A. So those characteristics are quite strong to be considered. Next slide, please. So here you have a comparison between the two schemes. On the left side, you have the winter efficiency. On the right side, you have the hot and humid climate system, where you see that we have added the energy recovery for on wet efficiency. Next slide, please. And here you have the different labels. So on the left side, the winter label, and on the right side, the summer label. So you have two labels for a unit, and depending on the regions, it is mandatory or not to display the summer label. We have defined what we call the subgroup 1, which defines the hot and humid climates. And for the subgroup 1, it is mandatory to provide the energy classification in summer conditions. So to give you a vision of where it is mandatory to use this label, you have here a map where per country there is an assessment of the percentage of cities or locations that are in subgroup 1. If the country is in red, it means that all cities, all locations are in subgroup 1, meaning that the summer application is mandatory. If you are in a green country, it means that no city, no location, for no city and no location, it is mandatory to use the summer label. However, you can use it if you wanted to, but there is no obligation. And for countries in between, the yellow one, about 50% of the locations are in subgroup 1, meaning that you have to use the summer label if you want to display certified data. Next slide, please. So we said that what is important for the energy performance of AHU in hot and humid climate in cooling mode and this was explained by PK before, is the humidity recovery. So this is already in place in our system, but also some additional parameters are important. Indirect adiabatic cooling and bypass mode are some important parameters. However, they are not yet taken into account in this label, and they are the objects of current studies that are ongoing, and we will improve the label, and we will include the two last points in the future. Next slide, please. So yes, humidity recovery is important, and this is already covered in the scheme. If you go to next slide, we plan also to include indirect adiabatic cooling in the system to reward the systems that are using this phenomenon to help decreasing the temperature indoor. And next slide. We also plan to include the effect of the bypass mode. The bypass mode allows to bypass the heat recovery system when it is not needed, and then to save some energy because the pressure drop will decrease. So again, this is a work ongoing within our technical committee. So then I will try to show you let's say how to use this label and how you can check the validity of this label on our website. So here you have the link of our website, and then I will show you directly on my screen how to use this. So here you have the Eurovent certification website, where you can select the product family that you are looking for. So today we are looking at air handling units, and you select a product type to get some performances. So a first step could be to have a pre-selection of the units that you want to select. So here you have the list of all the brands that are certified. So there are a lot. In total, we have 730 model box certified. You have the different range names here, and you have the possibility to fine-tune your selection based on some criteria. For example, if you are interested in model boxes that have the best in class in terms of casing strengths, you can select, for example, the D1 model boxes, and then you get a short list of the products that are compliant with this criteria. And you can play with the different parameters to make a pre-selection of the units or the brands that could provide certified AHU considering your requirements. Then you could contact those brands and define your project, and then normally you should receive from them printouts of AHUs that correspond to your design conditions, outdoor temperatures, outdoor humidity, external static pressure, and so on. And these printouts are provided by the selection software of the participant. And ECC is certifying those selection software, so you can rely on the performances that are provided in this software. What is important to know is that the energy efficiency class of an AHU will not appear on our website because it is project dependent. It will depend on your project and on the configurators of the manufacturers. However, the energy class will be given in the printout of the selection software coming from the manufacturer, and you can check the validity of this printout by checking on our website if the software name and the software version of the selection tool of the manufacturer is actually certified. So how do you check that? For example, here you have a list of model boxes. If you know the name, the brand, you can define the brand here. If you know the range, you select the range, and then you can check the different units that are certified. And here you can see what is the software name and the software version of the participant. So you can check if the printout corresponds to the same software name and version that is listed on the website. And then you could trust the data of the printout. If you still have a doubt about what is provided to you, you also have the possibility to send us a request, a direct request through our website using this icon here on the top right of the website, which is the access to the certificate checker. And here you have a form where you can ask your question and ask for clarity regarding a printout or a model that you are looking for. And we will give you an answer within 2 working days in order to ensure you that what you received is certified or not.